in order for this asset to be able to get financing, it needs a qualified guarantor, someone that the bank can say, okay, I'm willing to lend to that person if they're responsible. I'm going to give you a little secret. Ready? Banks will lend money to people who don't need to borrow and will not lend money to people that need to borrow. Meaning, if you need to borrow money because you have no other choice and you really need it, the bank's not going to lend it to you. Why? A bank goes, obviously, if you're in that situation, it means you don't know what the hell you're doing with money, so I'm not going to risk my money. But when you don't need to borrow the money, the bank goes, I'm willing to lend to you. Why? Obviously, you know what you're doing with money, so I feel safe that you'll be responsible with my money. So when it comes to big deals, for you to get a $14 million loan, the bank likes to see outside of this asset, you have $14 million already. Before I let you practice with my money, show me you know what to do with the same amount of money. For you to get $14 million loan on a 30-unit building, the bank says, let me see you've done this before. Do you own one of these already? No, you don't? I'm sorry, I'm not lending to you. Why? They're not going to practice with my money. They want to see you've owned this before. So experience comes a long way. So there are people that for whatever reason, they don't qualify as a guarantor anymore. Are you following me? So now, someone who is a qualified guarantor can capitalize on this. Why? Because they are now in a position where they have to either liquidate the asset, meaning they are forced to sell because they cannot get financing, or they're going to need a new guarantor to come in. On a $23 million deal, needing a $14 million loan. If the deal is $23 million and the loan is $14 million, how much equity is there? That means if this is the loan, then $9 million is the equity. Now, let's say the investors who invested in this put $5 million. So if the investors put $5 million, and now there's $9 million equity, that means $4 million is what? Profit. Yes. In legalese, that would be called economic interest. Now, a new guarantor that comes in. A guarantor that comes in says, hey, I want 1 point. What is 1 point? Technically, 1%. That means, you ever seen basketball players like they get a signing bonus, signing fee? You ever seen big? Okay, it's like a signing fee. I want 1 point up front. That means I want $140,000 cash just for signing. And because I'm going to be the guarantor, meaning you have no deal without me, if they are a guarantor which slam dunk, the bank says, oh, if that guy's your guarantor, for sure, done, deal. We'll give it to you right away. The guarantor says, I want 20% of the profits. In fact, the bank will require 20% of the profit in order for it to be the guarantor. Why? They want to make sure the guarantor has skin in the game. That means $140,000 he charges right up front, and 20% of the profit. Well, isn't there $4 million profit already? 20% goes to him right off the bat. So what does that mean? $800,000 right off the bat. Next year, when the value of the building goes up $1 million, he gets $200,000 of that also. This guarantor makes $940,000 in the signing, and he owns the asset. There are also distressed guarantors, meaning for the last 5-6 years, they were the guarantor. Right when it gets to the sweet part, the profit, everything, they no longer qualify. The guy who steps in and takes their place gets all the cheese. Now, what if it's a guarantor that has never been a guarantor before? Right? Can they ask for the same amounts? Usually not. Well, what could it be? Well, instead of getting 1 point, it would be like a half a point. Is $70,000 okay? Any of you would take $70,000 for signing? Okay. So 70,000, and instead of 20%, it would be more like 12%. So in a deal like this, it would be 480,000. Hey, is $550,000 just for signing and being a guarantor? Is that good money? To be at this level, you got to be someone who's been doing this 15 years, 10 years, 20 years. Are you following me? Because now you get to capitalize. You don't even need the asset. You get to capitalize on your experience, your good history. Are you following me? For doing shit right. You get to make money for having integrity and doing shit right. Why? If you were not a good person, you were not a person of honor, meaning your word is your bond. If you were not that, would anybody let you come in on their deal? Would anyone trust you on that? No. There are a lot of deals that are going to fall off unless they get a good guarantor. So this is the time where you make even more money because you've made good money in the past, but you've been responsible with it. So money is nothing but a responsibility. And the better you hold this responsibility, the